Hello, everybody. Welcome to Quality Sewing and Vacuums. How do I? I'm Andrea, and today I'm so excited to share with you how to sew on pleather and vinyl. It was such a fun project to do, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So you can see my fun bag here in the back. It was made with pleather and vinyl here with the little one, and up here it was zebra vinyl. How fun is that? And lipstick red pleather. And it is going into the season of being outdoors and going to stadiums and events and concerts and things, and you have to have a clear bag where they can see inside. So, if you're going to bring a clear bag, it's gonna have to be a cool bag, right? So anyways, I wanted to show you some tips and tricks to make this successful so you can look like you have a really cool bag and you made it all by yourself. So I showed my kids this and they're like, "You made that?" I was like, "Yes, I did." So I'm going to set that aside and I'm going to show you some tricks and tools that I have learned on the way to making this bag. So the first thing you want to do is find some good quality pleather. This is one that we have here in the stores. It's probably in all the stores. You can either go in or go online. This is our lipstick red pleather here. And then the vinyl is Sally Tomato, and we have lots of that here in the stores and in the warehouse. So you can find that here. Other things that you can use are cork as well, but it's not as sticky. So we're going to focus on the vinyl and the pleather. The pattern that I used today is called Heading Out. You can kind of see the similarity there, but it was so fun converting this bag pattern to just the vinyl one. It skipped so many steps and went together. My vinyl bag went together in an afternoon. It was so great and so fun because it skipped so much of like the lining and pockets and quilting and things. Okay. So the first thing that you want to do is gather your supplies. We'll start over here. This is a nylon-faced mallet, and this is going to be used to whack our seams, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. One other thing that you really want to focus on is having a non-stick foot, and I'm using the FOF here, but you can get a non-stick foot for any of your machines, and it's really going to make a difference. I actually tried at the beginning to sew it without a non-stick foot, and I was not as successful with that. Okay, so the next thing that is extremely important that we want to talk about, maybe we could go on the top camera up here so we can, there we go. There are different kinds of needles, and you're going to want to start out with some scraps to experiment with your machine to see what your machine is going to love to sew through your vinyl and pleather. We have the Sharp Microtex in the size 90. We have the anti-glue or anti-stick in the 90, and then we have the jeans denim in the size 90. And the reason we want to do the size 90 is because it's really big and thick, and it's really going to just pound through our really thick layers here. Now, because I sew with the FOF, I found that the jeans and the denim needle was the perfect fit for my machine. But you want to make sure that you can try some machines like, I think the Baby Lock and the Brother really like the Microtex. But do try, make sure that you have a sampling of the needles with you. It's just good to have a sampling of your needles anyways, but make sure that these are 3 different kinds that you can use to go through the pleather and vinyl, just see what works with your machine. Okay, the next thing that I really loved are the Gypsy Quilter Stitchy Sticks. And I really love these because they're long and they have points to help push things through, like stilettos and the such, to get the pleather through underneath the feet down at this end. But this one has this ball end, and it's going to help us as you want to, like this little guy right here, this little bag. It really helped when I needed to turn my corners and push those corners out just like so. You don't want to use anything sharp because guess what? It's pleather and you're going to poke right through that corner. So you want something round, and I really loved this larger ball. It really helped to push the big chunky corners in there. And if you hit it with like your hair dryer first before you do that, and kind of soften up the corner of the pleather right there, you're going to find that when you go to push the vinyl over, that it will just kind of meld into place, and as it cools it will look beautiful. So anyways, I really loved these stitchy sticks because they're really long. I love being able to reach all the way inside my bag, and then I'm going to be using them over at the machine too. So you'll see those in a minute. I'm going to put those over here. Set those there. Another thing that you're going to really want are the Wonder Clips. Those are going to help you clip everything in place because you can't use pins. When you use pleather and vinyl, you can't use pins. There's multiple reasons why, because you don't want to leave holes in your vinyl, but also you'll bend your needles when you try and look at that. Can you imagine trying to put a little needle through that? It's not going to work. Your your needle's going to bend before your pleather will bend. So anyways, another super important a product that I really loved, and we're going to use this as well, I'm going to pull one of those out of there, is the By Annie's double-sided basting tape. And I really love the really skinny one. It's an 1/8 of an inch thick right here, and it just holds amazing. It is so cool. And we're going to show you that too here in just a second. I'm going to set that aside so you know what I'm using when I use this little round thing. So here are some of my little supplies. These are my handles that I made right here. My handles are like 1.25 inches wide, but you can make them, I made them 1.25 inches so they would go with my hardware here. And I just followed what my hardware was. And when you make it about 1/3 of an inch, or I'm sorry, 3 times as bigger than what you need. You can see that's 3 times bigger. What you want to do is you take your tape, just as an example here, and we're going to put it right here along the edge. This is just giving you an example. You'd put it all the way along, well, we'll put it all the way along the edge, just so you can see. Ooh, it's so sticky. It's going to stick to me. I love this tape. It's so great because working with the fuzzy side and the pleather side, it really loves to stick to the pleather and the vinyl. It's so great. Okay. Now's the trick, is getting the tape off of the fuzzy. Whoop, just like that. We've got one. We're going to grab this one off here as well. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fold this in 1/3 of the way, just like that. I'm going to take my seam pounder. It's going to get loud here for a second. Go right along the edge and you whack it, and you can see that it is not totally flat, but you can see how you've changed like all those edges that wanted to just go straight, those go down. So what you're going to do is you're going to stitch right along about 1/8 of the way, right along that raw edge right there. Then you're going to add some more tape right there. You're going to fold it in, hammer it down again, like so. And since you've taped it, or you can even use your little, if you don't want to use more tape, and you can actually conserve it, you can take your little clippies and clip down the edge here. So if you flip it on that side, you'll have one little seam right like that. You're going to flip it over here. Now, I have noticed that these little clippies have like little teeth. They have little bumps right there. And if you're using smooth vinyl, you'll want to put those little bumps wherever you think you're going to stitch. So can you see how I'm putting those teeth right along the lines where I'm going to be stitching, right like this. And since I've got it all here, we might as well move over to the machine and I'll show you how to do this since we've got it here. And I'll show you what I've got set up over here at the machine. Oop, I'm going to take my stitchy stick that it's more like a finger. It's got a flat edge to it, and I really love it for directing that right in. I'm going to wake up my machine. And one thing that's important to set your machine at, if you're doing any kind of top stitching, you want to set it at least 4.0. In this case, I'm going to set it at 4.5. You can even do what's called like a top stitch or a jean stitch, where it double stitches down the seam if you like. But make sure that you always set it a little bit, have a longer stitch. Even just doing the inside stitches of the inside of a seam, because if you put those stitches too close together, the little perforations, they're holes, and if you put some stress on those seams, you could rip the seams out. So you want to make sure that those stitches are a little bit wider when you're working with vinyl or with your pleather. Okay, I've got my stitchy stick with my finger tool here. You can see how I've got my non-stick foot on right here. I'm set for 4.5 because this is going to be like my handle, and you'll see those stitches. So I want some bigger stitches. And I am going to set the edge of my fabric to go right along this little hole right there. So I'm about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. And let's stitch. I've got it set up. My machine starts with a knot and ends with a knot when I tell it to. Okay. Look at how smooth this is, just gliding right through my pleather. It is so amazing. All right. Those held it in place. And I'm just going to cut it down here at the end so you can see. All right. So I've got this stitch right down there, and you can see how nice and big those stitches are. Well, I can see how big they are. And when I flip it over to this back side, I've got this line here. And had I stitched the other one, it would have had a nice line there too. But for this sake, I'm just going to put in another stitch line to match the other one, just so you can see how easy it is to make beautiful handles with, ta-da, a beautiful handle, all ready to go to put into any kind of your brackets where you can want to do your rings, or maybe you want to attach this. Like if you made a tiny handle like that big, you could put that on. Like if we pretend like this is a really tiny little handle, you could add that into the seam as well and attach that onto your other bags. Okay, so that is how to do a handle. I'm going to switch it over here to our top video here. I'm going to set these aside. Now that we've talked about the handles a little bit, let's talk about how to put the pleather and the vinyl together. Let's get some of my scraps out here. Ooh, look how beautiful this is. They look so fun together. I'm going to set that aside too. Okay, so this is really going to be your best friend with working with the pleather and the vinyl, because they don't want to stay in place when you are stitching them together. The cool thing about, I'm going to grab this little guy. The cool thing about working with vinyl and pleather is you don't have to finish your edges. They don't fray. And you can see right here, this is just the raw edge right there. I took my vinyl like this, and I set that raw pleather right over the top, just like this. I will take some of my tape that's super sticky. It's so great when you put it on the vinyl. Okay, right like this. There we go. And you just put it right along the edge, right like that. I'm going to put a little tiny bit. It's really important on the beginning and the end down here to make sure that you get some tape on there. Make sure you can see that. Because those ends are the ones that really want to migrate and wander off. Okay, so now I've got my tape on there. I take my vinyl piece right here to do those trimming and edges. Oh, I did want to share with you that in order to do this edge, I didn't want to, or the top right here where I put in the zipper, I didn't want to have to add the zipper to 2 layers of like the vinyl and the pleather. So what I did is I stopped the vinyl right here. So I'm going to lay down my, actually I'm going to use this one. This one will be a better one. Better piece right here, because this will show a little edge right here. Just be aware that when you are putting your things together, your construction, if you're new to working with vinyl and leather, it's best to just follow a pattern that you've got. Okay, so you can see how now they're stuck together. Look at that. I can sew that and it's going to come out so beautifully. Look at that. It's so cool. I'm going to add just a tiny bit and then we're going to go over to the machine and I'll stitch it out. Ooh, it's sticking everywhere. In this case, I'm going to, because this is, I don't know where the edge of that one is on the vinyl, where it's going to end, I'm going to put my little piece of tape on my pleather side, right like that, and it sticks so well. Ta-da! Just like that. So great in bag making. I use this when applying the zipper on there, just like that. Now I can go over to my machine and it's not going to go anywhere. That's going to look beautiful. I'm going to look for my large scissors here. Okay, so we're going to go over and I'm going to show you how well this sews through right here. And with my little pocket here, this is about the same idea, right? Like here, on this flap that was singular right here, this is where I added my zipper, right, on this flap. So I didn't have to sew through both of these layers. All right, we'll run over here. And once you have these taped together, the vinyl and the pleather, you can just run them right through. Here, I'm going to use the edge of this little hole right here as my guide along the edge here and here to get about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge right there. Once you tape your vinyl and your pleather together, it really doesn't matter which one is on top or which one is on bottom because they're not going to go anywhere. You're going to get some beautiful stitches. And right like that. I love that automatic cutter. I'm not sure if you can see the stitches, but they came out beautiful. It just ran right through like it was cotton or, you know. And then I'm going to put this upside down right here, just so you can see. I'm going to run this stitch in there. That this runs through just as beautiful too. Okay. And so now this part is ready to have a zipper attached to it, just like that. Okay. Now the next thing, the last thing that we're going to talk about with this is hold on, let me clear my area a little bit here, is what to do with those raw edges. Here's my bag right here. Let's see. Oh, we're up top. Okay. I had to figure out what I was going to do with my raw edges of my bag because I didn't have a lining like it called for in this bag. And when you have a bag like this, you really shouldn't leave just the top raw. So I took some of the trim right here and I used the same technique of the tape. I added some tape to the top of my edge here, right like so. And I added a little trim to it. Actually, what I'm going to do first is go on the back side that has no tape and make sure that it is nice and even before I fold it over. And just like that. And then I took tape and I put it along the edge of there and folded that over. And then you can take it to the machine and stitch it right through. And just like that, you too can have a beautiful bag. I did want to share with you that when I attached these little loops right here with the hardware here, I did use tape. It's really hard to hold this, have anything to hold with like these little clips. I did use the little clips to hold the sides together like this. So the hardware would stay off on this end, but I just used the By Annie's double-sided tape on this side and then the inside here to hold all of these layers in place. And once that was taped in place, I had these guys pinned, or not pinned, but clamped shut with my pin, or my clips. There you go. I have my clips over here and my tape over here. This just sewed down beautifully in place. So anyways, those were my tips and my tricks for you. If you would like to come into our stores or look online, we have a ton of patterns to use the vinyl. We've got tons of vinyl and pleather in the stores for you to choose from and create your own bag. We do have all of these vinyls and patterns here at Quality Sewing and Vacuum at many of our stores. I can't wait to see what you create and you have fun with. I want you to have all the skills necessary so you're not frustrated in the middle of your project and be like, well, I can't do this anyways. So you can do it, have fun with it, and have a beautiful bag where people are going to ask you, where did you get your bag? Thank you for joining me today. We will see you very soon. Join us next week for our How Do I here at Quality Sewing and Vacuum.